Hi, I'm Brad Willingham. Welcome to the 2017 Parent Information Meeting. We're here tonight to discuss the risks involved in participating in middle school football. Some of the forms and documents we will be talking about and passing out tonight are number one, the athletic physical packet. In this packet, we have different things that discuss some of the safety features that we have when it comes to helmets and the pads and the proper way for taking care of those. This is more for your child to deal with, but we want you to be aware of what we're expecting them to be able to do. Also, you as a parent need to make sure that your child has a physical signed by a doctor. If you do not have access to a doctor, we will be next week having an open night at the high school to do physicals. We have several doctors here in town that are going to donate their time. It will cost $20 per physical, and we'll have that available next Thursday night. Also, in that packet, there's a concussion acknowledgement. We'll talk about that a little bit, about what a concussion is and how to deal with those situations. We also need to fill out the paperwork for the insurance acknowledgement. If you do not have insurance, we do have some here available through the school that you can sign up for, and we'll have that paperwork in that packet as well. And there'll also be a written form of the student and parent code of conduct, and we'll have you sign that to understand what we are expecting from our parents and our student athletes when they are participating and when you guys are watching them play at different venues. And also, there is a emergency medical treatment waiver that it needs to be signed also in that packet. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the equipment because there is a lot of equipment involved in football. Sometimes some of these athletes and your children might have not used any of this equipment before, so the proper use of the helmets and the pads is very important so that people aren't getting injured. So first thing we're going to talk about real quick is the proper fitting of the equipment. The helmets need to be fitting snug, and we are going to make sure that when we pass out all the equipment, that the helmet does fit properly. Every one of our helmets have been inspected and have the stamp of approval on them from the state, and we will double check and triple check to make sure everything fits right. The main thing is the chin strap needs to fit properly, and the helmet needs to not be bouncing around their head. We will make sure that is happening before they practice at all. Okay, so but if you most of the time we want the athletes to keep our equipment in their lockers here at school, but sometimes when we have travel games, they'll be having to hang on to their equipment. Make sure the equipment gets back here and is properly stored and taken care of when it is in the athlete's possession at home. Now, another thing, something that we need to talk about is the mouth guards. They do have instructions on the package, but they need to be done properly. If they aren't fitted properly, they tend not to be used the right way. So read the instructions on there. We will be giving out at least one free mouth guard after they lose the first one, or if they damage it. We will replace them, but those will cost a couple dollars. So make sure that their mouth guard stays with their equipment, and we try to tell them to keep them on the actual helmet themselves. Some other things to prepare for before practice, and these are other safety issues to keep from getting dehydrated or from if we're working in hotter conditions, is to make sure that you are staying hydrated, and you need the athletes need to drink at least 4 to 6 glasses of water daily. And some of our practices are going to be kind of hot. We'll be making sure that they get plenty of water, but they need to be hydrated before practice. Coming to practice without drinking anything all day, you're already dehydrated. So they need to be drinking before they actually get to practice. Another thing is we will be making sure they remove all jewelry and watches. That seems to be an issue. Kids are wearing watches. They forget to take them off, and they are cutting people up when they're trying to tackle other people. So we're going to make sure that doesn't occur. Now, some of the things that we're going to talk about when it comes to concussions this year. Inside the packet, we have what is considered a concussion and what our protocol is on dealing with concussions. Now, an actual concussion, the terminology for that is a traumatic brain injury that interferes with normal brain function. And some people are under the assumption that you have to lose consciousness to get a concussion. That is not true. Athletes can actually just hit their head in a certain way and still get a concussion. Now, we have actual protocol here, and all of our coaches have been trained. We just want you guys to be aware of some of the symptoms and signs in case they are showing these signs after practice, or they did not tell us that it happened, and it might have happened at the end of practice, and they've gotten home, and you're seeing that these things are happening. So some of the actual indications that they might have a concussion would be, of course, loss of consciousness, and that would be something we'd see here at practice or at the game. They appear dazed or stunned, forget things, unsure of where they're at, if they're on offense or defense. These are things that we are picking up on during practice or a game. Also, if they aren't answering our questions properly or very slowly, that's usually a sign. Or they can't recall any prior events to the injury. Now, these are some of the things that they might report when they come home from practice. If we missed seeing some of these things, which I hope we don't, but sometimes they can get hit and not really realize that they've got a concussion. So if they come home with a headache, or they're nauseous, they're having problems with being dizzy, double or fuzzy vision, sensitivity to light, feeling sluggish or confused. These are all signs that they might have a concussion. If that's the case, you need to make sure that they go ahead and get them to a doctor. And if this happens during practice or games, if you're not at the game, we will contact you and tell you how we're going to deal with everything. So concussions, like I said, in the packet, we have more in details of what our protocol and what we'll do. These are just some examples of what to look for in case there is a concussion. Now, back to some of the things that, for management purposes, for managing concussions. Afterwards, usually it's no athlete returns to practice on the same day of the concussion. And any athlete that's expected or suspected of having a concussion needs to be evaluated, by a proper healthcare professional that day it happened. Any athlete with a concussion should be medically cleared by an appropriate healthcare professional prior to resuming participation in any practice or competition. After medical clearance, they can return to play after they follow the steps in the protocol that we have in our packet. With the provisions for delayed return and to play based upon the return of any signs or symptoms. So anyway, these are some of the things you guys need to look for, and we need to also make sure that they're taking proper care of their equipment. Shoes, when it comes to spikes, this year the spikes, because of our field, they can be no longer in a 1/2 inch in length. This is also to help because the really tall cleats have been giving knee injuries in the past, so we're now reducing the length of those. The other thing is, if they are going to be wearing any other things that we are not giving them, like when it comes to forearm pads or anything, these need to be certified. Also, the coaches need to be aware that they're going to be wearing these things. When it also comes to neck collars and things, we want to check them out before they are actually wearing them. So, like I said, we have a lot of stuff in the in the forms that we've got in the parent package. If you get all those things signed, if you have any questions, as the athletic director and the coaches' numbers are all on the paperwork. So if you have any questions on that stuff, feel free to give us a call or email. Thank you very much.